flip it back over. Got to take the cover off. Now sometimes it's got a locator fork back here. So if I kind of lift up right there, that frees it. You can kind of get it, stretch the case a little bit. And it's off. Okay. What we're trying to get to is underneath this processor board here. There's a sample cell. This is actually a later generation sample cell than this one has. But essentially it's the same procedure. So start off with is that here we have the pump, and it's labeled right here on the silk screen on the board. So pump, you want to trace this back. You never want to cross these two. You can cross it physically, you just don't want to do it. Two entirely different voltages, and you will damage the infrared source if you get the connection wrong. But this is easy to trace up. It says source. Here it is right here. It comes right out, goes to the connector. It's real simple. Just be attention. Okay, I'm going to disconnect all the cables around here. This is the serial, goes to the back of the analyzer. This is the display cable, goes up to the display. And this is the processor board for the preamp here, plugging into the main processor here. So that exposes 3 screws. 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull these screws out. Okay, that's it. And that's as far as you have to take it. And there it is. That's the sample cell right there. It's got a little strap right here. And I'm taking it off. There it is. Well, I'll take it all the way out so you know what it looks like. Now, as another tip, if you get an error code 1, a lot of times what happens is this strap will break over time. And see how the sample cell kind of just pops out from it, just sets into these 2 saddles here. And if that strap breaks, it can pop up just enough. We're talking, less than 1/8 of an inch. And that's all it takes to throw off the optical alignment, and you'll get an error code 1. All you'd have to do is go in, put a new strap in, you're back in business. So when you take it apart, you want to check for that. Check the condition. If it's not good, just replace it. Okay, so let's go for taking the sample cell out. Here it is. I'm going to disconnect this. This one connects. It's an older analyzer. The newer ones actually connect under the processor board here. So I'd be disconnecting it from here. So what I usually do, if you've got these banjos, is they can be somewhat fragile with time.
So unscrew each cap.
Okay. So what I'm going to do here, instead of pulling the hose off, which, with these plastic banjos can be sometimes problematic, or at least, okay, so there's a sample cell window, and there's a good idea why we're cleaning the sample cell. That's supposed to be a clear window, and you can see this thing's got some gook in it. Okay, so once I pull this off, I just slide the banjo off the tube. There you go. Now I just do the same thing for the other side. I'll unscrew the window or sample cell cap. Okay, both windows are off, and I'll slide, there we go, tubes out. So I can go ahead, put this over here. So here's the sample cell. This is, like I said, this is an earlier generation. This is a later generation, and with this, these are really tough. So now you can, on these, you can just go ahead and pull the hose barb off, or pull the hose off the barb rather, because these don't come off. The caps come off just like the other ones. Actually, they come off even easier. There's the window, so essentially it's a different cap, but doing the same thing, same procedure on both. So I'm just going to put this back together, put it out of the way, just so you see it. If you come across this one, like I said, you can just pull the tubes right off the barb. It's real easy. Whole sample cell pops out in the flesh. Now, this is what we got. You probably can't see it, and I wish I had a flashlight in here, but that is really dirty. And that comes from not monitoring your filter, which it doesn't look like this fella's been doing. You know, he's got the single filter. It really needs to stay on top of it, and if you don't, it gets past the filter, because this filter will rupture. And if it ruptures, you're going to get a lot of heavy contaminants right into the sample cell, like this fella did.